Welcome. How are you doing today? So, I'm going to read a couple passages, maybe a page or two of this book. I've read this book a couple times, and I have to say I really appreciate it. I really love it. I really appreciate that this guy that wrote this autobiography, I really appreciate that he took the time to write this book and several other books. And it's just like, it's a labor of love that he put his life, his own like the grit of his life into this book. I appreciate that. And it's a fun read. It's a really good book. I loved the book. There's a lot of fantasy in the book. Like, there's a lot of really wild, spiritual, yogi, mystical things in the book. It's quite an adventure. So, the book is this: Apprenticed to a Himalayan Master, an autobiography, a yogi's autobiography by Sri M. It's really good. So let's, I think this is episode 8. Yeah, I think so. Let's get into this. Read a little passage and I'll talk about it, and leave your comments below. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and like and comment. All right, I'm going to read a passage. Let's get into it. With the chanting of the previous night's dream resounding in my head. I feel like I already read that. I could even get the right tone. Pitch, and cadence. Soon I was chanting as melodious as the people in the cave. From my dream. And even enjoying it, I continued to practice whenever I could find a lonely spot. When there were people around, I would chant mentally, right? Because if you're chanting and there's people around, it's kind of weird. You're like, Brahmanandesa Rupa Isha Jagadisha. You don't want to be doing that with like at the park with a bunch of people being like, who is this weirdo? You know, it's like you're sitting there, Brahmanandesa Rupa. You know, it's weird. So anyway, he's saying he does it in his mind, which I've heard this one guru, I think his name is Guru Pashupati. And Pashupati is one of the many names of Shiva, and a lot of gurus call themselves Shiva, or their gurus give them names, like Indian names. So he was probably given that name, Pashupati, by someone. Oh, another interesting fact about the word Pashupati: it's one of the oldest recorded in our like current history that we recognize as legit. It's one of the oldest names of a yogi or a god or whatever is Pashupati. I mean, there's a lot of ancient texts in the subcontinent of India that, you know, go into talking about timelines. I think in the Vedas there's timelines, and you can tell by the way the solar system is moving and the way the stars and everything is moving. You can look at timelines, and they have them detailed in, I think it's in the Vedas. So some people date it back to, the Vedas could date back even 10,000 years. I think it's 8 to 12,000 years Anyway, Pashupati, there's a village that has somewhere in India, or the top of it, near the top of India, maybe. I'm not sure exactly where it is. It's a village that they found relatively recently, and the language inscribed on the walls in rock, they can't. There's no Rosetta Stone for it, so they can't decipher it whatsoever. But there's a seal known as the Pashupati seal. So it's like a seal, a stamp, and that's in rock. And it's like it's a yogi sitting in a weird pose with his heels pushed forwards, like bent forwards. It's a weird yogi pose, It was one of those weird poses, and that's dated 5,000 years old. Yeah, but anyway, it's Pashupati is one of the names of Shiva, and that yogi that's on the stamp was Shiva, the first yogi, I do believe. But in a lot of ancient scriptures, there's stuff that dates back way further, and they look at archaeologists, and a lot of people visit holy sites, and they look at their consecrated stone works, and a lot of people are like, yeah, that's 8,000 years old, this is 10,000 years old, and it's very, very, very specifically like sort of yogi type consecrations. There's tons and tons of stuff out there, but there's no one's doing big documentaries on it. It's kind of an area of the world that people kind of just forgot about for thousands of years, but there will be probably in the next 100 years, there's going to be probably way bigger documentaries and people diving into the past. And the past of India is unbelievable. There's so much interesting, deep stuff there, especially with the spiritual progression, what the spiritual masters learned and what they passed down and what they kept learning and mastering. Like, the art of yoga is so incredibly deep, and there's so many levels and so many areas that they really looked into and mastered. It's really wild. Like, it's like metaphysical, different energy bodies. There's like the body has like seven bodies with it. It's like a Russian doll, the Russian doll toy, where you open it and there's another one inside, and then you open that and there's another one inside. That's how they look at the human system, and there's like 7 bodies. It's not just the soul and a body. There's a lot going on. So that's one of like 100 different things they could see. They studied, and they studied these things for thousands of years. How did they study them? That's a good question. Like, how did they study the chakras? The chakra system was 104 chakras, but there's like 7 main chakras. How did they study it? By going into deep meditation and evolving spiritually. They develop abilities, like supernatural abilities, where they can look at things and see. They can even, like really high level yogis can hear chakras. They can hear the sound of each of your chakras, and they're all making their own sound, which is very interesting. And they can hear the sound of water. They can hear the sound of elements, the sound of the earth, sound of water, sound of trees. Everything is emitting a frequency, a vibration, and a sound. And yogis can actually hear them. They can hear that sound. It's below, like every being has like a small window where they can hear. They can't hear above that window or below it in pitch. Dogs can hear like super high pitch, so they can hear like this much higher than a human can, whereas a human's hearing is down here, right? And so dog's window is like this. And then all animals they have different senses. They have different sense abilities. Like an owl can zoom in with its eyes. We can't do that, right? But so yogis learned how to grow that hearing window. So they can hear higher and higher pitches and lower pitches. And they can grow it to such a great extent that they can hear things that you would never imagine have sounds, like chakras and like rocks, air. Yeah, it's pretty wild. And then anyway, I'm going way off course here, but that's 2 examples of deep, very in-depth yogic stuff that they've been looking at and mastering and learning about for thousands and thousands of years, and then they mastered these things and passed them down. So I think I lost my spot. Let's see where we're at. Melody, chanting this melodious, melodious as the people in the cave in the dream, and even enjoying it. Right. I continued to practice whenever I could find a lonely spot. When there were people around, I would chant mentally. Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. This guru named Pashupati, he said that if you do a real consecrated chant or a real powerful chant, Om Namah Shivaya, something like that, or just Om or Om, you can do it in your mind, and it actually still has a very powerful effect, sometimes even more powerful than if you're speaking it out. Yeah, which is very interesting. And then I've heard of some advanced, like, hardcore spiritual people that they can chant it in their mind, and you'll hear it in your ears, or your mind, I guess. You'll hear it in your mind. And they can, like, send, words, sounds to people. Anyway, that's pretty cool too. Where were we? Let's get back into this. That was a bit of a rant, and I like the rants. If you also like the ranting, that was a good book called Rant. It was totally insane, but Chuck Palahniuk book, Rant. That was good. Okay, so let's get back into this. So he's chanting in his head. Where were we? I would chant mentally. The book said it was a prayer to the sun god to illumine the intellect. Many years later, my guru interpreted the mantra for me. He said that the sun was the inner self, the core of one's consciousness, and that the last line could be more accurately translated as stimulate my intelligence. The only thing that caught my attention in the second book was a picture of the cross-legged posture called Padmasana. I think I learned that, Padmasana. Yeah. I think that's what I do. Although my knees are not good. I have bad knees, and my bad genes for my knees. And in an illustrated children's history book, I had seen a painting of the Buddha in the same pose. I found it very easy to practice this posture and would secretly do so and imagine myself to be the Buddha. Interesting. One day, my mother caught me sitting in Padmasana on an old wooden chest in the storeroom. So Padmasana, I think, is just you have your left heel kind of tucked up in your crotch really tight, and then your right foot is the second bend one, but it's not like you don't have your feet up on your legs like pretzel like. It's just basically both feet are tucked in really tight, and your left heel is like really, it's like right in your crotch, like jammed in there. And then your other, anyway, it's basically really simple. It's like this most simple Padmasana. Yeah. It's the only one I can do without hurting my knees at this point. But I have massively muscly legs. It's like too much muscle, so I can't bend my knees. Anyway. Who taught you this? She asked. No one, I said. That is your yoga, she said, and went her way. Since my father never asked me about the books, I presumed that he had not discovered the theft. But I was waiting for a chance to put the books back, for I no longer needed them. The opportunity came when one day I saw that the key was once again in the lock. Finding no one around, I quietly opened the drawer and replaced the books exactly as as they were before, with a sigh of relief. My presumption, however, that my father did not know about what happened was proven wrong. One day at breakfast, my father said, "Those books you took out of my table and read, they can only be understood with a guru's help. Don't practice anything without proper guidance." I would agree to that too. Like, going to... Oh, this is a whole can of worms I don't even want to open, but going to a yoga studio in North America, I mean, North American yoga is kind of a massive bastardization of real yoga. I mean, one example would be hot yoga. It goes against lots of real yoga principles. When you're doing a lot of yoga, you're turning on your Agni, your fire, your chakra fire, and you're heating up the body so that you will be hot, super hot. You're creating tons of fire. So you don't need to also go and crank up the heat, Sometimes it's like that originally in the hot areas of the subcontinent of India. Yeah, it's hot, but keep in mind, those people, they are eating differently. They're eating like less food and very light carbs and like just less food. They're like skinny and malnourished. They're not eating tons of heavy food and then cranking up the heat and then doing yoga, which also cranks up your heat. It's like too much heat at the same time. Heat's good for you, yes, but it's like double heat. It's like you have a heater on the inside, hardcore from the yoga, and then from the outside too. And you're like, but I'm sweating a ton. But it's just, anyway. Yogis from India would say, terrible idea. Don't do it. They'd say that about a lot of things that are practiced in yoga studios in the West, because it's a lot of they're winging a lot of it. They're kind of like, let's do this. Let's make it into a exercise. Let's do Pilates. And it's just, anyway, I could go on way, way more, but I'm not going to, because I'm sure I've already pissed off a bunch of people. Okay, so where was I? Let's continue, shall we? Like and subscribe. Don't unsubscribe. My presumption. Oh yes, don't do yoga without a guru. Yeah, you can call that guru yoga. It's you have a master guiding you. And yoga isn't about, it's not about exercise. It is about health and exercise, yes, but it's not primarily about that. It's about aligning. It's about aligning your energies, clearing out your energies, your nadis, your chakras, igniting your chakras, clearing your energy channels, and alignment. It's all about alignment. You're aligning yourself with the cosmos, with the stars, and you're aligning your posture, because if your posture is aligned really well, your body works better, and your spirituality actually works better too. Your energies work better. Your kundalini energy will work better. Your brain will work better. This isn't, the science is catching up to it now too. That's being like, oh yeah, healthy posture, you can concentrate better. I wonder why. It's because the spine is part of the brain. So that has a lot to do with it. There's other things too. That was another rant. Okay, so where were we? Yes, so don't do yoga without a guru. It's because they're a master, and they can look. Most gurus can look right into your energy systems. They're just sitting there, and they can look right through the flesh, and they can see your energy, see your chakras, see your all that shit. Right, they can just look right into you. A lot of gurus, they just see energy. They don't even see you. At times. Okay. Don't practice anything without proper guidance. That's another thing too, is you can have people, authentic yoga teachers, taught by really authentic places, and a lot of it is a time frame too. Like if it's 100-hour course, it's just not real. It's fake, it's too short. Anyway, I don't know a lot about that stuff, but it looks like, even it takes tons and tons of time, and like these guys, it's like if you took here's a perfect example. If you took a weekend course on how to make a authentic samurai sword blade, or a week-long course, or a 2-week course, would you ever be able to make, after that course, would you ever in a million years be able to make a real authentic samurai sword? No, you wouldn't. Those guys trained for 10 years making their craft, or longer, 20 years, to make it, make the blade be able to bend, flap while you're slicing. Super thin blade. It's not a rock solid blade. The blade can like bend, but it's also super, super tough to cut through. It's supposed to be able to cut through bone, right? Slice through bone. Anyway, I'm just saying, it's a very particular. There's different schools out there, but it's a very, very, very particular thing where you can't just you can't just pump out results. You need it's years and years and years of training with like masters to do it, so they can see how you're aligned, to make sure you're aligned properly. Because if you don't have initiations for kriyas, and if you're not aligned when you're doing yoga poses, it can cause injuries and bad results, other strange bad results. Another example is yoga instructors speaking while they're doing the poses. That will actually have a weird backfire effect in their system. They'll develop weird conditions from it. And it's subtle things like that are completely beyond a lot of teachers in yoga studios and yoga teachers in the West here, North America. Anyway, I don't want to speak too much about that stuff because I don't really know anything about it. I'm a learner. I'm just learning. I'm a beginner. But I think there's some truth to what I'm saying. I think I could be wrong. I could be wrong though. I'm just learning. Okay, enough rants. Let's get back into this book. Finish this page. Yeah, so don't do it without a guru. Don't practice anything without a proper guidance. If you wish to do yoga, you can meet one Mr. Shamra from the East Fort, who is going to come here tomorrow morning and help me with my yoga. I was thrilled. Sure, I said. So the next day, I met Mr. Sharma, a middle-aged, clean-shaven Brahmin who readily agreed to teach me yoga, asanas, and pranayama. Within a few months, I was practicing the exercises with ease. I overheard him tell my father one day, "This fellow is good. He will go a long way if he practices daily." I have been practicing yoga since then and perform a set of yoga asanas and breathing exercises for at least half an hour every day. Even now, I attribute my good health, stamina, and high spirits to the practice of yoga. So, next page is chapter 4. What do you think? You like the book so far? I personally love it. There's some boring spots, but I don't know. I like it. It's good. It's good. Really, really good. So, if you're into this, there might be another episode coming down the pipeline. Like and subscribe, and have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for coming, and namaste. Peace.